Hey guys, welcome back. This is part two of the baseball card collection here, and as I mentioned in the last video, most of these are kind of all stars, or these guys at the time who are solid ball players. The exception would be just randomly. I have some Mets because I was a Met fan since 1984. So, and here we go again with late 80s cards. Um, as I said in my last video, my favorite era 1987 Topps is Lee Mazzilli, Maz, got Jesse Orosco, Randy Myers, a couple of left-handed closers the Mets had. I guess they traded Orosco and Myers became their closer in '88. Then after that they went on and got another lefty closer, John Franco. Myers was traded for Franco, where Myers became one of the nasty boys on the Reds. Timmy Tuffle, solid platoon ball player. Roger McDowell, team prankster, solid reliever. David Cohn, we know about him. Solid Mets career. Went on to pitch a perfect game for the Yankees years later. I believe 96. No, 96 Dwight Gooden had the no-hitter for the Yankees. It was 99. Cohn had a perfect game for the Yankees. There's Davey Johnson, longtime manager in the 80s of the Mets. Mookie Wilson, one of my favorite ball players of all time. Mookie, of course, everyone remembers what he's famous for in the '86 World Series with the ground ball, but he was a solid player. I mean, he played about 10 years for the Mets, platooned a lot with Dykstra, real fast, stole, God, 60, 70, maybe even 80 bases one year. Good player. Okay, here's Ruben Sierra. He was a great player at that time. I mentioned him in the last video. He was traded for Jose Canseco to Oakland. Some cards of his. 87 Topps again. I'll shut up about the 87 Topps. So, that's that with him. Jeez, third page of Ruben Sierra. I don't even remember having this many cards of his. And here's a few of him on Oakland after he was traded. If I have another page of Sierra. No. Frank Thomas, Chicago White Sox, very good ball player. Sammy Sosa on the White Sox in the old Comiskey Park days. You can tell by the background. Almost forgot Sosa was a White Sox. Hal Poston. What did I say about not having random players? Again, solid, decent ball player, but certainly not a all-star. Another Sosa, Sammy Sosa. Mets, Howard Johnson, Hojo, very good ball player. He was like the every other year guy. I remember Brett Saberhagen was like that too. Like 87, 89, 91, Hojo had some amazing seasons. All-star in both 89 and 91, 30 guy. And then would have like, an off year. But every other year, in those odd years, he was amazing. He was as good as Strawberry was in those couple years for the Mets. He really was. So there's Hojo. Good guy. Played third base, shortstop. They tried him in the outfield one year, and that was a disaster. Juan Gonzalez, good player. Randy Johnson on the Expos. That one could be. This one might be worth something. I don't know. Might be worth $5, $10. Yeah, he was traded in. This is probably the only card of his on the Expos. This was an '89 Topps. Somewhere in '89, maybe the trade deadline, he was traded along with a bunch of other players to Seattle for Mark Langston. So I would say Seattle got the better end of that deal. And there's Randy, his mullet on the Seattle there. Kirk Gibson. We know what Kirk Gibson was famous for. Dale Murphy, another Very outstanding ball player for a lot of years on some bad Braves teams. Um, I know like 82, 83, the Braves were okay. I think 82 they won a division. That was just before I started following baseball, but I'm very knowledgeable and aware of what happened prior to me watching. But the Braves, for a lot of years there, were awful in the mid to late 80s, awful teams. And then they turned it around. Those were those old uniforms they had with the blue. I kind of like those. And then in 87, maybe 88, they changed them to what they've had ever since, those jerseys. So, here's Dale. Some more Dale Murphy. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought I had so many cards. Here's another page of Dale Murphy. Here's the Fancy Woolworth again series. Tony Perez, about 45 years old here. That's probably his last year, his last card. That's an 85 tops. I think Perez retired in 85, 86. Donnie Moore, tragic story. Of course, he gave up that home run in '86 playoffs to Dave Henderson. Angels blew a 3-1 lead. A couple years later, he was out of baseball, and he, in a really crazy incident, I think he shot his wife or his girlfriend, and she survived, but then he shot himself. Very, very, very awful story. Harold Baines, good player for the White Sox. Ryan Sandberg, Hall of Famer, great ball player. Didn't like the Cubs, but always respected Rhino. Good guy. There's some more him. Julio Franco, another guy who played till 46, 47, maybe even 48 years old. Played in, if he didn't play in 4 decades, it was only because he started in the early 80s. So I don't think he played in 4 decades like some other guys. Ricky Henderson played in 4 decades because he started in 79 and then played into 2000. But I believe Franco's career started about 1980, 81, 82. Very good ball player. Very good ball player. Will Clark. I loved Will Clark. I loved his swing. Such an awesome swing. Was on an '89 Giant team that made it to the World Series. Woolworth again. Fleer '88. Yeah. That one right there. Just after he probably hit a sweet home run. Will Clark. Will and Kevin Mitchell, a dynamic duo. Brutal trade. The Mets traded him away to San Diego for Kevin McReynolds after '86. And then the Padres quickly, like I think not even a full season later, traded him to the Giants. But that was a great tandem. Clark, Mitchell, Matt Williams. I think I might have some Matt Williams in here. We'll see. Yeah, a lot of Will Clark. Will and Rafael Palmeiro. Will and Darryl. Woolworth. Ricky Henderson. Cal Ripken. I used to have that. I know I don't now. I think I sold it for like $10 or something. There was an infamous card, I think it's '88, of Billy Ripken, Cal's brother, where he was holding the bat, and on the knob of the bat, it said, "Fuckface." And, yeah, that was an error. An error card. There was an Al Leiter error card too, early in his career in the Yankees, where somehow the image was reversed or something, because he was a left-handed pitcher and it had him looking like a right-handed pitcher, something like that. Who knew I had all these Woolworth cards? Jeez, I don't remember that at all. Ricky, I don't have any old Ricky. like from the early 80s. This is all late 80s. Remember, he went to the Yankees for a few years, 3 or 4 years. I believe 85 to 89, and then in 89 he was traded back to Oakland, and he helped them win the World Series. And Willie Randolph, mostly a Yankee. Then later in his career he bounced around, finished with the Mets, played with the Dodgers, also Oakland. Kirby Puckett. I love Kirby Puckett. Used to love him robbing home runs at the old Metrodome. He'd jump over that little flimsy wall they had, whatever. No memory of these cards. I remember Jerome Walton. He was Rookie of the Year in '89, but really never really did much after that. But I guess at that time, I figured he'd be a future star, so I collected. That's the same thing with like Jeffries, you know. So Kenny Lofton, he was a very good ball player. Kenny Lofton with Cleveland, Atlanta. I have no memory of him being on the Houston Astros whatsoever, so that's obviously, he looks very young there. Harold Reynolds. Harold later went on to be voice on ESPN for a long time. I always liked Harold Reynolds. I know he got in some trouble, certain allegations. I don't know what happened with that, but he always seemed like a good dude, but he did get into trouble, so I apologize. I don't even know what ended up coming of that, but anyway. Oh, Al Leiter. That's not the card I mentioned, but there's a card of Al Leiter. Like I said, it was a left-handed pitcher in like a stretch position, and he was right-handed. It was a mistake. It was a reverse image. Weird. Moises Alou. Again, no memory of him on the Pirates at all. Obviously, he's young there. That's where I remember him mostly, from the Expos. He was a good ball player. Ray Knight on Baltimore. I think he played 1 year with them. The Mets released him, well, not released him, but he was a free agent. He didn't re-sign with the Mets after '86. He won the MVP in the World Series, and he signed with Baltimore, and his career was over within a year or so. Random Mets, Sid Fernandez, the hefty lefty, we used to call him. Won number 50 because he was from Hawaii. 50th State, Shea Stadium, PA. He used to play Hawaii 5-0 theme music when he would warm up the pitch, start a game. It was K-Mac. Quiet guy. Very good ball player. Rafael Santana. Typical old school. Good glove, shortstop. Very light hitting. Hit like 1 home run a year. Every year in September. Oh no, that's Ray Ordonez I'm thinking of. A similar ball player, Ray Ordonez. Every year he hit 1 home run a year, and it was always in September. Like seriously, 4 years in a row he did that. I was at a game at Shea, and he hit a grand slam against the Phillies. Maybe 1998 or so. Ron Blumberg, the first ever DH. 1973, turned back the clock. Chris Sabo, ball player. Jim Abbott, of course, he had no right hand. Amazing story, just a great story. They should have made that into a movie, his story. And then he pitched a no-hitter with the Yankees in '93. Very humble guy too, great guy, great story. George Brett, I don't think I have much of George, just a couple. Hall of Famer. Jeff Blauser, decent guy. Stan Javier there, sliding into him. Brett Saberhagen, and like I mentioned with Howard Johnson before, like every other year he was, I mean, don't get me wrong, he was a very good pitcher every year, but every other year he was like the best pitcher. He won a Cy Young. I think it was 85, 87, and 89, or 87, 89, 91, something like that. It was every other year he was like the Cy Young Award winner. It was him and Frank Viola, who I have here. So I have some Frank Viola cards, I believe. Bobby Jones, like Social. Why did I put him in there? Hated him. Killed the Mets in '88 with that home run. Ken Caminiti. Later got embroiled in the steroid scandal. Here's some random Mets. Score 90. Sid Fernandez again. Bobby Ojeda. Keith Hernandez, 90 score. His last year with the Mets was 89. Again, they'd put these cards out maybe in December of the previous year, and there would still be a lot of acquisitions, made. Guys would come and go, and they wouldn't be on the team anymore. Sometimes, I guess, if it was before press time, they would put a little thing on there saying it would show him on the Mets, but say like, 'cause he ended up with Cleveland in '90. It would say like traded to or signed by the Indians. Barry Lyons. Juan Samuel, we're going to skip over that. He sucked as a Met. Mets traded Lenny Dykstra for him. It was a disaster. Strawman, Dave Magadan, Ernie Myers, all carry on. Backup outfielder, pinch hitter extraordinaire. Carry-on is one of the rare guys, too, who was a left-handed thrower but batted right-handed. Ricky Henderson did that. Also, I remember Atlanta Brave guy, Brian Hunter did that. Now, a lot of pitchers did that. A lot of pitchers would be lefty throwers and bat right-handed. Randy Johnson, more recently, Steven Matz of the Mets. There's a lot of examples, but regular everyday ball players, it was very rare to have a guy who batted right-handed only, not a switch hitter, and threw left-handed. It's much more common the other way around. There's plenty of left-handed hitters, right-handed throwers. Anyway, this video is already much longer than the other one, and I still got pages to go, so let's get through it here real quick. Blaine Beatty, don't even remember him. Gary Carter, same with Hernandez last year as a Met. Mackie Sasser, great hitter. Had that yips problem where he couldn't throw the ball back to the pitcher. He actually became, I think, like suicidal over that. Ended his career, very sad. There's Frank Viola. Kevin Elster, good shortstop. Don Asse. Very little memory of him as a Met. He was mostly an American League pitcher. And I guess he's just some kind of random guys. Rick Reed was later with the Mets, like 10 years later. Johnny Franco. Ricky Wilson as a Blue Jay. He was only there for maybe a year or two before he retired. Dennis Cook. Tino Martinez. Later went on to be a fan favorite, Yankees fan favorite in the late 90s. Bernie. I don't have a ton of Yankee stuff, as you've probably seen. Obviously, as a kid, I was like, F the Yankees, Like, I've grown up a lot. Like, I don't like them still. I'm a Met fan, but it's not like I'm like, oh my God, I hate the Yankees. Like some of these guys, like whatever. I don't root for them, but anyway, Randy Johnson. Delino DeShields, good ball player. Colton Fisk, late in his career. Look at this. Albert, don't call me Joey Bell. That was an old Chris Barman-ism. One of the nastiest ball players ever. Mean guy. Nasty guy. Greg Mannix, World Series 89. Lights Out. That's during the earthquake during the World Series. Robin Yount, good ball player. And that's it, guys. So thanks for sitting through this. Those of you that have watched this, I might do some more with. I have some football cards and hockey cards too, but baseball were the ones primarily that I had collected. I have like entire books of series of Score 1989, Score 1990. I just got to unearth those and find them. So stay tuned. There may be a part 3.